Welcome back to the homestead, honeys and beloveds. Today we're harvesting seeds two different ways. We'll be harvesting lettuce, greens, honeywort, and snapdragons. It's about mid-June here and temperatures have officially spiked all the way up to the high 90s. So all the spring plants have gone to seed and now it's time to harvest them, as well as cutting back some of the herbs. I'll show you some of the herbs at the end of the video. There's some really fun stuff in here that we're going to be able to harvest all season. But for right now, we're just going to stick to the two methods of how to harvest seeds. But before we get to that, remember to like and subscribe to the channel. Make sure you turn on that cute little bell notification so you can know when the next video comes out. The two methods of seed harvesting that I'm using is taking into account when I want to actually sow the seeds. So this is my spring bed. I just planted this year. The heat made everything bolt, and so now they've all gone to seed. There's arugula, there's a mixture of different types of lettuces, red rocket, romaine, leafy bib lettuce. There's bok choy in here as well. I don't want to move my leafy green bed. I want to keep it here, and I also want to make sure that I plant it so that way I have lettuce coming in the fall and throughout the winter months here. So this is actually going to be the easiest seed harvesting method because we're really just going to gently sprinkle the seeds around this bed right where they are and go ahead and let nature take its course. When you get close up on these, you can probably see that some of the seeds have already dropped on their own. As they dry out, the seed pods get really, really thin, like a soft tissue paper. And so you just barely touch them, just kind of wiggling them out, and they're just naturally gonna drop around down to the ground. And then water after your seeds are spread and sprinkled out, and just wait for fall season. There are some other plants that aren't quite ready to collect seeds off of yet. The parsley is one of them, and the Thai basil. The Thai basil will be cut back, and I'll keep letting it flower and harvesting off of that all summer. And then maybe around next month, I'll stop cutting it back to make sure that I get all of the seeds off of it in the fall, and I can go ahead and plant it fresh next year. There's also some pea pods back here, some broccoli, quite a few things. But for today's video, we're just gonna focus on pods that have tiny, tiny seeds. They can run away and escape from you, so you can use this method for any of your plants that are producing small seeds, lettuce, mustard greens, and snapdragons specifically. Your seed harvesting supply list should include plastic baggies or airtight waterproof storage containers to put all your seeds in, paper towels, a napkin or a cloth, a Sharpie or custom labels, shears or scissors, and a basket. Begin by lining your basket with your paper towel or your cloth. This will help catch any seeds that might shake loose while you're adding your clippings. Next, it's time to gather up your seeds. I call this the clipping method. So I just take my shears and I go ahead and just cut big pieces off of the plant. You could pull the pods off individually, but for things like these, which are the mustard greens, they've already gone to seed and they're not gonna leaf anymore. So it's easier for me to just clip them. I actually will be planting these in the same area, but as you can see, things are super overgrown. There's a lot of weeding and a little bit of tilling that needs to happen before I can replant. So knowing where I want to plant and what I want to plant makes this the most sensible method, as I need to actually remove the seeds from this area first before I plant them. So there's two different ways you can do this after you gather up your seed pods. One is to lay out a second towel, cloth, or paper towel and just start pulling the seeds out of the pods individually. Depending on how many seeds you have, this method could be a little bit tedious or calming depending on how you look at it. And it's actually a really good kid-friendly activity to give them. Their little fingers can help pick out the extra husk that don't need to be in there, and it can be just a nice family bonding time. You can also just leave your seedlings and pods in your basket and gently mush, tap, and shake as many seeds loose as you can. This method doesn't get out all of the seeds from the pod, so you still might have to hand pick some of them, but especially if your seed pods are really, really dry, most of them are going to go ahead and fall out. We did have some dew this morning that I harvested them, so a couple of them stuck, and I'm still going to have to go through and pick them apart individually. But if you find a dry drought day, this is probably going to be one of your easier methods. As for the husk of the pods and what to do with those, it totally depends on when you are going to plant your seeds. If you're going to go ahead and immediately plant them that season, I would say you're probably okay just taking a handful of these and spreading them out. The husk will break down into the soil, acting like a compost, and it shouldn't be a problem. However, if you think you're going to store your seeds for a long period of time or until next season, go ahead and remove them. Once your husks are removed, we're going to gently fold in the edges of your paper towel or cloth to help gather them all to the center. So be careful. Again, these are really, really tiny. And then you just kind of want to cup and scoop and then gently shake all of your seeds down into the plastic baggie. Last step is to label your seeds. I like to put the year, personal preference. And voila, you have officially started your own personal seed bank. Make sure you store them in a cool, dry place indoors and try to use them within the next season for your best results as seeds lose their germination over time. I'll be using the same second paper towel method for my Snapdragons. And actually, while I was out harvesting these, I learned something really cool.
Extra comes in, shut your mouth. So these were definitely open, but the more that I study them, because there's some dew out this morning. Oh, from little spider. There's some dew out this morning. So the more I study them, the more I'm curious, because I remember these were all open. But I'm thinking that maybe when it gets wet, it swells and closes up so the seeds stay dry. And then when they dry out again, it opens back up so the seeds could drop. How smart is that? How freaking smart is that? Yeah, cause see, look, you see like right here? But like this one is a bit drier than the other ones. So it's opening back up again. Don't be telling Mother Nature what to do. She got a plan for everything. That is brilliant. Oh, wow.
Well, that's all for today, honeys and beloveds, but certainly not all there is to do. I'm also harvesting some catmint and other herbs, and there will be plenty more seeds to gather as the summer goes along. So again, make sure you like and subscribe, that you're following, and your cute little notification bell is on, because there will be a part 2 to harvesting and probably a part 15. And I just love us learning and growing together. So be blessed and grow in peace.